Welcome to the 8th Wikipedia Weekly Biodiversity Edition. We've just realized that it's been a while, but I'm really excited. Wikipedia Weekly Biodiversity Edition. We just realized that it's been a while. It's going something.
Oh no, Andra.
Can someone talk?
Yeah, I'm talking now.
Are you trying to find the tab where you have YouTube on?
Yeah, I think so. I think he is.
Yes.
He's trying to get us.
So welcome to the Wikipedia. Where is this?
We can hear you. But he can't hear us.
I do apologize. Welcome back. I had some technical issue, but let's not get this burden to us. So welcome again to the Wikipedia Weekly, the Biodiversity Edition. It's been a while, and I'm a bit rusted with the buttons, which explains the noises in the back. But I'm really excited to meet Siobhan and Jan again. And as in the previous editions, today we're going to use this opportunity, which is also the Biodiversity Day, to write a Wikipedia article and show how we reuse data from iNaturalist, from Wikidata, and maybe the Biodiversity Heritage Library, or any resources the community wishes to share with us. But first, let me introduce Jan and Siobhan. Can you please introduce yourselves? And then we'll take it from there. Thank you.
Jan, do you want to start?
Okay, I can go start. So yeah, I'm Jan. I'm mostly active on Swedish Wikipedia, but also quite a lot on Wikidata and Commons. And I'll be a little bit distracted because I'm trying to push the buttons here. And if you're chatting with us, I'll try to bring it on. So please come with comments, tips. So this is how I would like to do it. You can comment both on YouTube, and now we're also streaming on the Fediverse. We're streaming on PeerTube. But we cannot bring your things up on the screen from there. I'll do it manually, but please do comment. I have a separate window over here. So talk to us while we're editing. Siobhan.
And hi, I'm Siobhan, also known as Ambrosia 10 on Wiki. I am very passionate about biodiversity. My passion project that I dabble in quite a bit is New Zealand endemic moths, but I do a lot of other things as well. And yeah, I mainly edit English Wikipedia, Wikidata, and Wikimedia Commons.
Yeah, and I'm Andra Waagmeester. I'm a biomedical informatician by training, but I bring this background into this sphere as well. But I'm active mainly on Wikidata and the English Wikipedia, and I'm a geek for trying to bring as much data and reuse the data into a Wikipedia article. So from previous editions, what we did is we picked a species, an observation from iNaturalist, and which I think needs a bit of an introduction. iNaturalist is a really nice app, and I like it so much that it's on the back of my phone. And I really highly recommend to put an app on your phone. And it's like the Wikipedia community. It's a community of naturalist enthusiasts who just go out in nature and observe the biodiversity around us, which brings a really interesting use case because it's fun, it's amusement, but at the same time it provides high quality metadata and images about biodiversity, which we can use to in the Wikimedia ecosystem. Because within iNaturalist, they provide some quality content assessments of the images, and then we can judge whether an image can be used in Wikipedia. So that's the workflow we typically use in this setting. We use iNaturalist content, move it to Wikimedia Commons, get the metadata from Wikidata, and then and sometimes explore other resources, but then go into writing a Wikipedia article on the species with the ultimate aim to get every species on Earth described on Wikipedia. And may I now give you the floor, Siobhan?
Okay, can we share the screen, Jan, and go to the first one? Yes. So when we were looking for a species, Andra suggested this amazing photographer in iNaturalist who is actually licensing his images under the CC0 license. So when you're in iNaturalist, the default license for images and data is CC by NC, or CC Creative Commons Attribution Non-Commercial Use. and that's not compatible with use in Wikipedia, but you can go into your preferences and change that to a more open license, and what's compatible is either a CC0 license, a CC BY or Creative Commons Attribution license, or a CC BY SA, that's Creative Commons Attribution Share Alike license. So if you change it to any of those three, then we can use your images and the data associated with those images in the Wikiverse. So I was looking through this and then came across this particular, and I'll just pull it up, find it first. This particular observation, I'll just put it in this tab. And hopefully it should change. Yeah, this particular observation of this particular species, and it's been research grade. So when you first put your observation into iNaturalist, it's not regarded as research grade. You've got to have independent third parties come along and say, yes, that is the species you think it is, and get it to species level before it gets to research grade. And so I thought, oh, that looks lovely. I checked, it doesn't have a Wikipedia article because I went to the iNaturalist page. Again, I'll put it in for the species. And you can scroll down and you can see it doesn't have a page, and you can ask, actually I'll increase the size, sorry. Hopefully that's a bit better for people. You can see that you can actually create this page on Wikipedia, and that's what we're going to do now. So I'm just going to click this and see what happens. And the nice thing is, yep, that's cool. It's locked in. Now I have today switched over to the new skin for Wikipedia for this, so that it will look like it does on your screen. I am often resistant to change, and so has previously been serving up Wikipedia in an old skin, which means the way I edit is slightly different. So you're going to have to forgive me if I'm a bit slow at working this out. But I want everyone to look at the page and go, oh yeah, that's what it would look like if you now made an account in Wikipedia and then went in. So at the moment, we've got it creating. I'm actually going to go into create source. It is in create source, or sorry, just here you can either, again, I'll increase the size so people can see.
Yeah. You
can either do visual editing or source editing. I normally start out with source editing. And so I've actually got something pre-prepared, so I'll just go copy it. Did I? Yes, come on, Siobhan. I didn't put the taxon box in there because I assumed it would do it. So we're going to have to do a bit of trickery stuff. Andra, can you go see if you can find another species in this and see if you can copy the taxon box over? In fact, I can do it. Let me see if I can find it. I'll just share this. Okay, put that to one side, and we'll put. So this is the genus that has it, and this here is the, again, can people see that? I'll just keep pressing the size. You can see that the species we want is just here, and according to them, this is the author, and that's the year it was originally described. This is actually, having done research on the species, wrong. So we will edit this later, but I just want to see, and I am just going to go to this. And it's already got a taxon box here. And this is this bit here where it gives you all the taxonomy. And because I like making my life easy, I go up to edit source, and I'm just going to copy this. And just copy that source, and then I'm going to go, actually, put it in that bit there. Sorry, I'm having to swap between so I can paste it later, because I've got to share the screen back to the, where is it? The article we wanted to create. It's gone. Oh well, I'll go back to this one. Sorry, I'm going backwards and forwards. Okay, so we're back here. We're back here trying to create an article. So I'm just going to copy and paste that piece that I copied from that other species in the same genus. And I'll just double check I am in source editing. Yep. And that's the basically the species box, which we now have to edit. It's obviously not the species, so we want to change it to what it is. it's the species. And I can tell you now, it was edited by Carl Linnaeus. So I'll just have to grab him so I spell it right, because this is the other thing I am, is slightly dyslexic. And we will just put Linnaeus. And the year was 1758. And I've done research on this, so I know this for sure. So, and that, if I go to Visual Editor, it should show you that we have now generated this taxon box. And this is one of the major important parts of a species article, is to have a box like this. And as you can see, it's relatively easy so long as you have another species in the same genus, copy and paste, and then just change the data. So let's go back to source editing again. I tend to do source editing when I'm creating an article. You can actually do this in Visual Editor. It's just I learned how to edit source editing, and once it's ingrained, it's very difficult to change for me. So yes?
if I may interrupt you, I'm wondering if this is a nice time to show that that we're not putting the full taxonomic tree that is in the info box in there. So it's fetching the data from somewhere, which I think is Wikidata, right? Or
I don't know where it fetches it from. It's magic as far as I'm concerned.
We haven't connected it to Wikidata yet, so it doesn't know of the wiki.
No.
So this is some English Wikipedia.
It's a taxonomic template, and it will be based on the genus template, and then you just add the extra stuff. So it's pulling from the genus bit. It's a template that's added it in there. So as I understand it, it'll be pulling from the taxonomic template on English Wikipedia.
Oh, this is interesting. So I always thought that anything structural is coming from Wikidata, but that's not completely accurate.
Not the case for this, as far as I'm aware. Not for English Wikipedia, anyway.
Interesting.
Yeah. Okay.
Sorry, go on.
Yeah. No problem. Then I add the first page, first sentence rather. And actually, I'll just grab that. As you can tell, I've pre-prepared this. And it's so I'll show you in visual. So you've got, don't like that. I've obviously done one too many. And it should actually be, your species name should actually be in italics. And that is why that's going wrong. So this is why I like doing it in visual, so I can actually see what I'm doing. I will get rid of that, and I'll bold it in visual. This is the first information about the actual species. And that's the species name, which, because it's the first thing, it should be in bold, and it should also be italic, because it's a species name, and it's a species of stink bug in the family. I cannot pronounce that. Anyone want to give it a go? Pentatonidae. Oh, who knows?
Yes.
It's hard enough if you're dyslexic just reading, let alone trying to pronounce something like that. And it's found in Mexico, Argentina, Uruguay, and the Lesser Antilles. And you said also Suriname, is that right?
Yes, although I think this is worth pausing a bit, because I assume that this is what you took from the literature, right?
Yes.
And
this is what I've got.
Maybe this is something we should discuss when we go into the distribution page, but I'm curious on what you think of your opinion, because we now know from resources like iNaturalist that it's spread across. But do we want to, I know that the Wikipedia community is hesitant in using resources like iNaturalist. So I think in this line, we should not include Suriname unless we have a publication or a reference that mentions specifically this.
Yeah, well, I haven't gone. I've gone into the major pieces of work that I've found have been via the Biodiversity Heritage Library, which I'll show you in a minute. But at the moment, I will just flesh it out. Now, for a basic species article, and this is one of the things we want to discuss, is how much information we should have. I'm going to show you how much I can bear to put in that's a minimum for me, which is a lot more than is a minimum for the rest of the community. I like having not just a first sentence, I also like having a taxonomic section with a reference. So I will create that now, and I put it at the top, which some people disagree about. taxonomy. It's got to make it a section, so I'm just adding some code there to do that. And it's got a citation. And this is, I'm actually using here, again, I'm going to try and increase it so you can see it. Sorry, guys. Again, I'm using here, actually the site queue, because I really like the site queue template. And just today, I learned that Altmetrics is now taking the citations from Wikipedia using that template and reflecting it in their citation index. So you can get, it links to the literature. And this is another template that I use, which gives you a direct link to BHL. So I will actually go to visual and I'll show you what it looks like. And there's the taxonomy section, and I haven't got a reference section, so it's just sitting there at the moment, but I'll do that in a minute. So you can see that the whole thing is pulled, it's not citing Wikidata, it's pulled from Wikidata. And the great thing about that is that then, because the Wikidata item for the actual article is so well referenced, and that it's got so many identifiers like the DOI, OCLC, and the BH, well, on the BHL page I've added separately, these extra identifiers turn up for the actual citation, whereas if you don't do it via that way, you have to type them in manually, and it's just a pain. So I make sure the Wikidata is beautiful, so that when people then can, multiple people use that site queue template with that particular reference, it all just automatically generates. It's just so simple. But we'll go back to source editing again, and we will actually put in a reference section. If I reference, and then the code for that ref list. Again, all these templates that I'm adding on via Wiki Markup are actual templates you can add in the visual, just doing visual editing. It's just, this is the only way, this is the way I learned to do it. And so it's just second nature to me. And so what that does with that template, switching to visual editing, it now adds a reference section like that. And you can see it's the first one is Carlinas. And I also like doing things like wiki linking to make sure that he's linked to, and that is that original name, and that should actually be in italics as well because it's a species name. Right, and there is other stuff here that I did get. I also like, as part of the minimum, not just where it was, the taxonomy. I will go back to source. I also like doing a description. Because what's the point of having something in Wikipedia if you don't tell someone what it looks like? And a lot of the time, just make sure that's okay. A lot of the time, some of the time, certainly with insects, finding openly licensed images of them can be a challenge, especially if people don't actually license their images openly in iNaturalist. I have had several times when I've been trying to write a Wikipedia article about a species, and I've gone into iNaturalist and there's images there, but the licenses used on those images are not compatible to Wiki. At that point, if I'm desperate, I will actually write a note to the best one and say, is there any possibility you can change the license of this image to an open license so I can use that image to illustrate the Wikipedia article I've just written about the species? And I get a lot of positives from that. In fact, sometimes people will change their entire set of images to an open license if asked. And I'm just making sure that I've got these wiki links. Sorry, I did, to make sure. I will go. Is it going to be doing it for me? Okay, yeah, fine. Okay, and again, there's another citation. This is the most recent piece that I found in BHL. BHL is the Biodiversity Heritage Library, and it's a digital library that you can find. Just put into Google Biodiversity Heritage Library, you'll see it come up as a result on your search, and go there and you can knock yourself out with millions and millions, literally millions of pages on biodiversity publications. And this is why I'm adding the BHL page ID, and also the site queue will also have the BHL identifiers for that article as well. So we go back to visual editing. I'll show you what it looks like. You can see we've got now a little description with a citation and some links on some sort of anatomy of an insect words. And then finally, I like putting something about distribution. So my minimum is a one sentence explaining what it is and where it's found. Then another section giving the taxonomy, the description, and then where it's found, the distribution. And that's using, again, I'll show you, go to Visual Editor, and that's reusing the same references I used for that one. Now back to source editing, because I want to now link this to the Wikipedia, the Wikidata item for this species. And I'm just going to go and find that. So that is that one, I think. We will see if we're right. That's the QID there. I'm just going to double check because I do like double checking what I'm doing. Let's go. Yeah, it is. That's that one. I've got it on a different screen. Paste. And what that will do will generate, I'll just go and show you in Visual. This template, again, is in Visual Editor. You can do it this way. It generates this. So this not only gives the Wikidata item, it gives all these other identifiers found on that Wikidata item. And just helps it link in into the whole ecosystem of data about the species. And last but not least, I like doing categories. So I'll just go grab those. And the categories I'm adding tend to be the year it was described. That's wrong. It's Carlinus. The family it's from, and the places I found literature that say where it's from. So the Trinidad and Tobago is in the literature. So even though I know it's in a wider area than that.
I tend to add another line in the distribution part that says that this is being confirmed in the lines of it's being confirmed by GBIF, by crowdsourcing initiatives like iNaturalist and GBIF, and then put a reference to those resources, because typically the literature, especially if you're looking at 1715, the distribution might have shifted since. So I'm trying to cover that by saying, okay, yes, we stick with the original literature because that's where we're thriving on.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I try to reference iNaturalist as well, because there is some.
Yeah. Well, the last piece of literature that I can find is 1979. There's going to be a lot more known about it now. I just couldn't find it on BHL, and I agree. I for some reason I don't know why, but I prefer citing GBIF over iNaturalist. And I think it's because GBIF's the Global Biodiversity Information Facility, and it's the whole where it encapsulates not only iNaturalist observations, but it also encapsulates the data provided to the Global Biodiversity Information Facility from museums. So all these specimens that have been digitized and made into a provided into it's not a spreadsheet, it's basically information that can be uploaded into GBIF. It's a combination of both. And I think that's why I prefer GBIF over iNaturalist, because it's a more, not complete, but it's got more sources of information about a particular species.
Fair enough, except that not everything from iNaturalist moves to GBIF, depending on the license.
No, because yeah, that's true, which is why I encourage people to have at least stay. Don't copyright this stuff in this citizen science.
I'm also curious, for that I'm raising it a bit, I'm also curious what the Wikipedia community thinks about it, because I acknowledge the uncertainty that is in iNaturalist and GBIF, which is why we want to stick to proper references, preferably original resources. But at the same time, by rewording, it's being confirmed by or suggested by I acknowledge that there is some data available that might be looking at. I will never ever use GBIF or iNaturalist as the primary resource. It's more like supportive referencing of the observation.
Yeah.
But fair enough. Yeah,
so
we should look for GBIF.
Yeah, it's iffy. If someone's going to get pedantic and take it out, that's fine.
Exactly. Yeah.
You've got the nice thing about it is, even if they take it out, it's still technically in the article because you've got the links. You've got the iNaturalist link and you've got the GBIF link. So people can still find that information if they need it. Oh, I've done something wrong. I don't like that. I've done Carl Linnaeus is either spelt wrong or something's going on there. I have to find the category. I'll take that out and find it in a minute. Might just be Linnaeus. I'll find it later. So when it's red, I know Carl Linnaeus described multitudes of species, so there will be a category for them. I've just used the wrong, either the wrong name or the wrong, spelled it wrong, or something's gone wrong, which is why it's red. It should actually be blue. Okay, so while we've been talking, I've added in the commons markup and the wiki species markup so that it links to those two projects in the Wikiverse. I really don't like it if you don't have those. I don't care how you do it, whether you do inline or little boxes, however you want to put it in there. I'm a firm believer that a species article in whatever language Wikipedia should link to your commons category and should link to wiki species as well, because there's valuable information in both those projects. So I'm just going to double check what it looks like.
I put the category name in our chat there.
Oh, cool. Okay. I'll go away and copy it. All looks good to me. Is everyone happy with that?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'll just go and grab that category in the chat and I will. I must have spelled it wrong.
I think the E and A was the other order.
Yeah, that's me. That's dyslexia for you. That's what happens. You just have to occasionally put up with spelling mistakes from me. Okay, I'll just quickly add that category. And if everyone's happy, I'm going to publish it. Everyone
Do
happy?
we have the same spelling in the top on Linnaeus?
Oh, good question. Thank you. Copy. I'm pretty sure I spelled Carl right. I will double check.
Oh, we have two.
Oh, no, we don't. Paste. No, this is fine.
One was right.
And
you have the same there as well in the middle there.
Yeah. Well, when I look at something like that, my brain swaps the letters round unless it's something really familiar. And if it does that, it doesn't matter what way it's spelled. It looks good to me either way. Yeah. Okay, so I'm happy with that.
You have one more there in the middle.
Happy? Oh, do I? Oh, thank you. This one?
That one
I'll
correct.
just paste everything.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Cool. And I will actually double check that is correct too, because I don't want this. I don't want spelling mistakes all through it. Paste. Yeah, that's wrong too. There you go. Just double check that I've got everything. Okay. And then this is why I'm really grateful to all those editors who go through and correct spelling mistakes. I'd throw myself on their neck and give them a big hug if I could, because I rely on them. Okay, I'm happy to publish that if everyone else is happy.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. So I'll just do a summary, creating a new article on a stink bug, which I think is really mean to call them a stink bug, but I guess they do get stinky. Okay. Cool. And that is now live. Now, the first thing I do right now is I go and make sure this Wikipedia article is linked to the Wikidata item. So I will actually go to the Wikidata item and put it on there, and I'll show you how to do that. Copy, and I'll just put it, paste. This is assuming I spelled it right. I must have done, surely. I did check several times. Okay, so for this is again, I'll make it a bit larger so people can see. This is the Wikidata item for this species. And I go down. I'm sorry, you're going to have to get a little bit sick while I go right down to the bottom. And this is where the Wikipedia, again, I can just increase the size. It's huge on my big screen, but not so great for you guys. Did I touch it? There we go. This is where all the different Wikipedias are. So I just go edit. And down the bottom, just put EN for English. Add in the species name, which I hope is spelled exactly the same. Yes, it is. And then I press should go enter there. And the blue goes published once you've gone enter. And just go publish. And then I refresh it. And that means that now is, oh, that's interesting. Someone beat me to it. The bot beat me to it. And so that means the Wikipedia article is now linked to the Wikidata item. And I'll just
that
go
was a very
back.
quick bot.
It is a very quick bot. Sometimes I beat it, sometimes I don't. Now, the other thing I do is I also go to the talk page, because I can't stand red links. I'm not happy with red links, especially when it's not administrative, but like pretty stuff. So I also like adding the Wikipedia article to the appropriate wiki projects. So these are projects are things where people collaborate, editors collaborate on improving articles. And as I've made this article, I want the community and lots of other people to have the chance to improve it, because there's bound to be someone out there who knows a shed load more about this particular species than I do. So I want to add it to as many wiki projects as we can. So I will go and press that talk, and then I will go create source, and I've got the markup here ready for it. If I can find it, there we go. Copy, and I add in here. And what I'm doing here is I'm adding, this is code for adding, again, these are templates that you can get through Visual Editor. I'm saying it's a stub article because I don't think it's a start yet. I don't think it's got quite enough information. And then it's been added to Wiki Project Insects because it's an insect, the Caribbean because it's been found in the Caribbean, to the Wiki Project Mexico because it's been found in Mexico, Argentina, and Uruguay. And so I'll just I can't double that. I will press publish, and I actually, I'll just review my changes to make sure it looks okay. Okay, something's wrong with that. That shouldn't do that. That's why I check. Why is that?
It looks all right, right?
Does it? Okay, we'll publish it and see what happens. I'm creating talk page and adding wiki projects. Let's see what happens. It should refresh. Oh yeah, it does look okay. Okay, cool. So, and this is where all these projects come in. It's now been sort of, can be seen by these projects. It's sort of added if they've got special ways of working out which projects belong to their project. And so all the people who sort of collaborate on all these wiki projects now can have the chance to collaborate on the article that we've done. And then we've got to actually go get an image because this doesn't have an image.
Yeah.
And I'm a firm believer. I know Andra uploaded an image, so we'll go to, I'll just show you. We'll go to Wiki Commons. And there's two images. There's an illustration, which is quite nice, and then there's a living image there. Oh, actually, so I'll increase it again. So I will take this one, and I'll just copy that there.
But maybe before you go, I think it's a nice opportunity to show the iNaturalist import button.
It's broken.
Is it?
It is.
Oops.
I put a GitHub, look, nothing happens.
Yeah, I tried that too the other day.
Yeah, I put a GitHub, I raised an issue with GitHub about it. And the code has been fixed, but the person who created it is no longer doing wiki work. Basically, it sounds like they got harassed and decided not to contribute anymore as a result of that.
Oh no.
And as a result, this tool is now broken. So if we want to add stuff, we now use I'll show you the tool I use, copy.
Well, you're looking, hearing Tiago saying in the Fediverse, on the PeerTube comments, that he's copying a lot of your gadgets from your common cheese.
Oh,
he's discovering new ones.
Oh, good. Hi, Tiago. So this is the tool I use, which is iNat2Wiki, and it's on the ToolForge. So you just go into ToolForge and go into it, and then you can go going backwards and forwards, but you basically add in the observation ID, and then it pulls in. I will grab one. I will find one. Give me 2 secs because there's quite a few of these. So I'll just go find one that we've got. Oh God! Of course, iNaturalist wants to take me to New Zealand, which is where this bug is not found. Let's see. Actually, that looks like a nymph. So we'll grab that one. Is that openly licensed? Oh, no, it's not even research grade. So let me filter it. Sorry, you guys talk.
Are you using the new dev version or the?
That's the new. I think this is the new version. I think.
Yeah. All right.
I think.
Yes. I'm gonna. Yes, it looks like that. I'm gonna share the link in our stream so people can find it as well.
Cool. Thank you. And I will just grab one that I haven't done before. I will actually go CC by because I'm at the moment searching. I should do this on the screen, but going backwards and forwards can get a bit of a pain. I'll just pick one. Let's go that one. Hopefully this isn't one. Okay. So I've gone to iNaturalist and got an observation number. Oh, I should show you. I'll show you. But going backwards and forwards is such a pain. Okay. Not that one. Which one did I just find? Yeah. And then I look at it carefully and it's out of focus, which I don't like. Oh well. No, sorry, I keep finding ones that look in focus but aren't. Okay, let's try this one. That's better. Are we sure it's that species? Okay, yep. So I've got an observation ID and I just put the observation ID from the actual URL in there. Actually, I'll increase the size again. And then just go submit. Takes a little while, but it actually pulls up the image, tells you the license, and gives you the option to upload. The only thing I've got a bit of a worry about is I'm not sure this is our species looking at it. It's research grade by one person. I don't know the people and it doesn't look the same as the ones I've been looking at. So, because it's not dark all the way to the top. Now I don't know anything about this. I just am, I would like the images I upload to be relatively confident. When I'm doing this a lot of the time, I go and check the bona fides of not only the person who observed it, but also the bona fides of the person who actually placed it up to research grade. And if they're a person who's out there or expresses that they're in a job, which is to do with biodiversity, or they're a massive iNaturalist user, I tend to trust them more than just a random person who's done only, like me, only 1,000, 2,000, 2.5 or something like 1,000 observations. I don't tend to trust people like me as much as I trust someone who's done like 10,000 observations and IDs, and they seem to know what they're doing. So I'm actually, because the image isn't, I'm a little bit tentative about it, I'm actually not going to upload this. But if you're just showing you the tool, you can actually press upload to Commons and it will end up in Wiki Commons on this tool. So I'm actually going to, can I go back? Yeah, cool. So we still haven't put an image on our Wikipedia article. So I'm just going to grab that and copy it. And then hopefully I can go back to the Wikipedia article. Yeah. And again, I'm going to edit source just because it's easier, because I actually want to put it in the species box here. So I just paste it in, paste, make sure that it's still lovely. And then again, I just go and double check that it's done what I've asked it to do. And there's see what I mean? It could be it, but it just looks enough different that I'm just not sure. That other one. So yeah, so I've added an image. So I'm adding image and press publish. And so to me, that is a relatively okay stub class article because it's got an image, it's got a description, a text, one sentence about the original name, and a link to the original description article, which pops up there, and distribution of where it's found.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, so it's done. I could normally at this point I then go to the Wikidata item and start editing the Wikidata item because
I think we should, because there are some important things to do there.
Okay, yes, there are. So we can go down here, and we've already linked it, so we'll just press the Wikidata item. Okay, so it's a species of insect. which is fine. I always do also known as the short name for it. And I also put the species name and only the species name. I hate common names. Don't get me started. It is a soapbox of mine. You do not want to hear me rant. I don't think common names are accurate for the concept of this particular species. So I always put the default should be, in my opinion, and my firm opinion, the species name. For the default.
Yeah, because the common names varies by language.
Yeah.
So you can't put that
and also
as the
varies
default
by
in
species.
English.
It could apply to 3 or 4 species. It could apply, just don't get me started.
Yeah.
Okay, so taxon name. The first thing I do is look to see whether the original author, the person who actually originally described the species, is here, because it's almost like, not almost, it is part of the species name, in my opinion. So I am actually going to go, it's because it's, okay, it's a bit funny because I've increased the size, but I go taxon author and oh gosh, can we do this? Yeah, I just have to decrease it. It'll hopefully give me Linnaeus. Come on, or I spelled it wrong. No, there we go. Here we go. If I spell it right, it pops up. And then the year of publication was 1758, was it?
Yeah.
I think it was 1758. Yep. And then because it's been the name of the species has changed, you have to sort of indicate to people that the brackets exist, and you do that by saying object of statement has role, and it's actually a recombination. And that's how you tell everybody that this name is a recombination of the original name that the species was described at. And I like at this point adding a reference. Now, I'm just going to have to decrease it because this is, I don't know why it's doing this, but it is. And I add a different reference, and it's stated in, I'm just going to have to go back and find the actual reference. Stated in, and I get the QID for the reference. So it's the 10th edition of this particular very famous publication. I go page so that people know where it is. And it is 443, copy. I think it's 443, 444, but we're just 443 at the moment. If it's got a page in BHL, we'll do BHL page ID. So that people will go directly to that page, and I'll show you what that does when we finish this. Copy. And then I also say reference has role, first bullet description. Now, the reason I'm putting this here is because I know, having searched this, that the original species name is actually not in Wikidata. And if I can't be bothered creating an item, technically I should, but everyone's busy. I should create an item for the original name. If I can't, I will at least put this in so that people can actually move it to the new, if they create it, the original name, which was Simax something, and then I press publish. And it comes up with this. Okay, this is a warning. It doesn't like that I've added the extra information, which I know is correct. And this happens to me frequently, and I just press publish again and ignore it because I am right. And so what this brings up is a lovely reference here. And if you click that, hopefully, won't take too long. It actually takes you to the page, once it comes up, where the original description is, which is this bit here in Latin. Go back. So it just saves people time.
What I sometimes do is then take that original description, depending on the license. In this case, we can do that because in BHL, you can make a PNG of the image and use that as an image too in the info box. But that's a matter of opinion. But
you could do it, but I figure it's in BHL. It's got all the links.
Yes.
And I see things like this really annoy me, that there's no references on the parent.
Totally. Yeah.
So I tend to try and find something where it is that's okay, which I like. I've got, because I do mainly New Zealand ones, I've got some databases which I use all the time, which I know are trustworthy, like Biota of New Zealand or New Zealand Organisms Register, and that's what I use for that. In this particular case, I will just double check. Actually, I'll double check GBIF, because GBIF taxonomy, yeah, look, it's got the original name there, the Basilum. Lovely. Okay, I'm happy. But it thinks the species is doubtful. But that's just GBIF. It's not doubtful. It is a species because I've seen it. So I'm happy to use that as the reference for there. But ideally, I would like the piece of literature that placed that particular species into this genus. I haven't had a chance to, I didn't go that deep diving into the taxonomic literature, but you can actually do a bit of research and find out the reference of the of this genus and work out who put it in there and why, and then link it to that particular piece of taxonomic literature. But this will do for the time being. It's better than nothing. Yeah, taxon as well, but I can actually say I actually don't mind using Linnaeus for the fact that it's a taxon. Anyone who wants to argue with him is welcome to, because he invented it. Okay. Then I do things like, I do things like taxonomic range. Taxonomic range. I spelled it wrong probably. Taxonomic range. This is the problem when you, no! Okay, taxon range. There we go. And we've decided that we knew that it was Argentina, for example. And that it was Uruguay. This is where my Uruguay. This is where my spelling. Thank God for the drop-down menus, because for me, I would have to go and look up how Uruguay is spelled. Otherwise, where else was it? It was
Mexico.
Mexico.
No, Mexico.
And Trinidad.
And Trinidad and Tobago. Okay, and I'm actually going to go back and find the reference. I'll just grab that reference, and it's, I know it's this one, 210 to 211. And I will reference these because I can't stand people not stated in. And that's the reference we used previously in the article. And I know it's pages 210 to 211. Publish, and then I refresh. And this one doesn't have, because it was published in 1979. It's still in copyright, so it's not in BHL. Oh, hang on, it might be. Oh, hang on, no, I think it might be. I might have to just let me check. It is. So I will actually put the BHL page ID. Give me a second. Copy. And the reason I just want people to be able to easily find, just one click and go and get this. I want to make it easy, not even for wiki people. I want to make it easy for taxonomists to do their job. And if you're describing a new species, sometimes you have to easily go find the literature. I don't want to have them to do that work. I just want them to be able to click, and just save time. And I'm prepared to spend my time to make sure their taxonomic precious time is saved. Publish, and again I'll refresh again, and then I can copy that and paste the reference in the other three. Copy, and this is a tool. I know it's a tool. I just can't remember where I did it. It might be in your preferences, I think.
I think this might be a gadget. Yes.
Or is it a gadget? Yeah. It's the stuff people tell you at conferences, and I put it in and I forget all about it. So yeah, so it's all nicely referenced, and that's taxon range. Was there anything else anyone wanted to put in there?
Two things. I think the full page available, because that then is transforms into the site queue, and then if you have the reference in the Wikipedia article, you're immediately talking about making other people's life easy.
Okay.
So I
okay. So this is the revision. Okay, and we will look. I wonder who did that. Full work available at URL. So it's there.
Yeah.
And this is the bit And the other one should be, I will double check the other one, but this here is to the part, and this is important because, actually I'll just click on it. This is the actual thing, and it's got other identifiers attached to it, including the JSTOR ID and BioStore. So if you actually go back to this, it should have the part ID JSTOR on. It should have the BioStore. I don't know why it doesn't have BioStore. Yeah, I'll add that later because I have to go backwards and forwards for that. But yeah, it just means that, as you said, if you want to reference this, having the full work available there means that people get to it. Okay. There are other things image? You can do.
Yeah, image.
Oh yeah, yeah. Good point. Yeah. Nice one.
And we now have the new illustration image as well, so we can add both.
Yes,
or illustration
nice.
property.
Yes. Yeah, that's a good idea. Okay, so let me just go and get to the article again, and I'll just go grab that image again. Where it is. Oh, actually, before we do, let's actually make sure Wikipedia is right. Remember how we said that it's now come up as a blue link in the genus level, and this is wrong? So let's sort that out first. And can someone just AE US?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, 1758. Correcting author and year. Okay, so everything's consistent now, hopefully. And then we'll go, I'll just go this way. And then I will go to this. More details. And then I'll grab the name. And then I'll go back. And back again. And go to the Wikidata item, which is, God knows where. There. Okay, so we can go image. We're happy with that. And then we also want reference illustration. And I have to go back to that. I'll just go to the B2B, which is.
You also have the link to the commons category just above the image.
I've got it. So this is the reference illustration, which is on the commons category. That's nice. And then we can refresh it. And it all looks lovely. So the first one goes quite to the top, and I'll just get that one, and ends up and right at the bottom as well as the part of the taxon box. And the reference illustration hangs around here. Keep going down. Is it going to be there? No, it's not. Yeah, there it is. So it's repeated. Now, I did want to show you, did I bring it up? I probably didn't. Let me see. I actually made a visualization in Commons as to most of them. I'm not going to say I managed to get all of them. I will show you. Copy. I'll just show you what I did for a paper. But I put the illustration in Commons. What? No, that's not what I want. I'm going Wikidata, that's why, stupid me. Okay. So this is an item I did for a paper that has all the properties and their P IDs next to them. I'll try and increase the size of it. It's not going to work much. The red ones are the bare minimum. Every Wikidata item for a species should have these four statements. But then I trawled through masses of numbers and did all sorts of things to try and find all the other appropriate properties that you could possibly put on a taxon item. So there's a lot. And if people want to sort of knock themselves out making a model item with most of these, that'd be great, because there's some which are reciprocal, so you can't, they'll be on one item or another item, like synonyms, for example. But yeah, if you want guidance, that's one way of looking at it. Okay, so we've finished well, we can add heaps, but that'll do for now for that. One last thing I did want to go to was actually I'll just go to this, the category, and it's going to give me the category there, category in Wikimedia Commons, and I just want to show you a tool. Oh, cool, some people have been adding, just lovely. Can you see down in this corner the SDC tool?
Mm-hmm.
Structured Data on Commons tool. I'm just going to add structured data to all these. So you can see that none of these have, well, some have some structured data, most have nothing. And I just go all to select all of them, and then I'm going to press set target, and I'm going to press the species name, and then I'm just going to go, yep. And it's now automatically going to say this depicts the species. And what this does is, unlike the categories down here and the descriptions, I mean, at least it's a species name, which is sort of semi-multilingual. But if a Japanese person wants, for example, to try and find the species and it's in Japanese script, at least now with this depicts, because it pulls from Wikidata, you can now look for it in Wikicommons and find it in multiple languages, because the depicts are now pulling from Wikidata. And I think that's quite important when it comes to biodiversity content. It should be available in all languages, or as many as you can get it in, and searchable. So that's why I do that. Is there anything else? I think that was it.
I wonder if we want to create an item on Wikidata then for CMEX Epsilon, the one that Linnaeus used, because I don't think we've shown on the stream here how to connect the names like that.
Yep, sure. I'll just keep going back until I get the Wikidata item again. Okay, so I go on the right, there's the create new item. And I will just make sure I've got the information on the right one, because I've got it on a page somewhere. Where's it gone? I just want to make sure I get it right. Okay. Because I do not want to spell it wrong. Okay, so I put that, and it's a species of insect. And I press create. This is the original name that Linnaeus used to describe the species. Okay. And then, so, instance of taxon. I do referencing later after I've finished it. Taxon name. This is the original name. And so we want to add taxon author. Yeah, the A and the E's. And year, and it is 1758. And this is the original name, so it doesn't have brackets or anything around the authors or anything. So we just go publish. We'll put references in later. And this is what you get if you only put 2 items. You get a warning. Come on, you've got to do more. You've got to do more work. Taxon rank, species, and parent taxon. You can just see it just drops down, and so the parent is this. Paste. Okay, and then I go refresh. So now we've got the original name, but we've got to now link it to the now current name. And I'll just get the property for that. So it's a protonym of copy. No, is it? This is the bit I have to really think about. Yes, I think this is right, because it's reciprocal, and so I have to work out which one to put on the right item, and I have to be careful about it because I have to really think. For taxon item of which this taxon name is a protonym, original name. Yeah, original name. This is what we want. No, that's the wrong way around. That can't be right. Oh, see, this is why I should have made more detailed notes for myself. Okay, let's do the easy one first, because I do both ways, and then I'll work it out later. Common. It is also a synonym, just a plain old synonym. Now, I know this is sort of belt and braces, but some websites say synonym, some say original combination. So I like putting both sets in, even though it's sort of redundant if you doing two statements. But I do it anyway because some do and some don't. So it's a taxon synonym of this. No, taxon synonym of. God, this is why I shouldn't do this when I'm tense and editing. Help me, somebody.
Oh no, I don't
Because
know.
these taxons. No, that's just it. Well, I should have written myself better notes because I do this standing on top of my head every day. But doing it live on TV.
Yeah, we should not. There is some nuance in the semantics, so I think it's fine to say we'll do it later.
Okay. Well, I will do it later when I'm confident I'm going to get this right because I do not want to muck it up. But there are properties you can do: synonym and taxon synonym of. Taxon synonym, taxon synonym of. There's also original combination, or the other one I've got down here is original combination and there was an alternate on the other one. Prosynonym of. Oh no, I did do it for myself. Okay, I am confident now because I did write it down. Okay, I'm happy. Now I know what I'm doing. And I will double check it. I promise everyone I will double check it tomorrow when I know what I'm doing. So original combination. Is that right? I'm sure it is. No, I'm definitely not going to do it. I can't. Sorry, I can't do it while it's late at night and I'm just not confident. So this will do. What we still want, though, is an identifier for this. I cannot stand if there is no identifiers for this original name. So what I'm going to do is I am going to go find the GBIF ID for it. And I did find it somewhere. Did I find it? There it is in there. I'm sure I put it down. Oh, well, I will go look. It's sitting there, so we know it's there. So we'll just go, actually, I'll just take that number. There, so I don't pick it up. Okay, let's go into GBIF. Take a copy of the name. And go to GBIF. This is the Global Biodiversity Information Facility. Go to species, and then I just search species. And it's there. Oh, well, that looks wrong, doesn't it? That's probably where we got it from. Let's go that one. That one's better. So obviously the same thing's in there twice. And because they've got the name wrong. Okay, and we will just go back. Okay, and I'm going to go down here and just quickly add the GBIF taxon ID, publish. I'm just going to double check that links. Yep, cool. Happy as. And so it's got an identifier. And then I'll actually use that identifier to go, yep. But I also want to move the reference as well. You know how I put the original description on the current name? I want to swap that to this, which I will do later. But in the meantime, Andra, do you want to talk about anything?
Yeah, if you could go back to the original Wikipedia, I added this maybe worth. Something that I never realized is that you're actually putting the range in there. So what I did in the info box while you were doing your awesome work on Wikidata is I did add a range map. If you scroll down a bit.
Nice.
There.
Yes. Yeah.
This is, I really like this because I'm a sucker for reuse of data. If we go to the source, you'll see that what I did is I added to the info box just the QID for the countries. And you can actually see Q77, 745, 750. Oh, I have the twice in there, and Q96. So I need to fix one. But those are the QIDs of the countries that are being shown that are being mentioned in the article. So I'm now actually curious if this is something we should dive into if we can do this automatically, because we're adding the range in there. But in a way here, it's showing the reuse of Wikidata. in the. So I really like this. This is also part of my my stubs schedule. Whenever I write a stub, I will make a map like this.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I might have to now if I'm doing one that's got New Zealand and Australia, for example.
Yeah, it's
and Andra, now that I see this is actually supporting any type of geographic shape on OpenStreetMap that is connected to Wikidata. So it doesn't need to be a country. It can be smaller, like a province or something, but it has to be on OpenStreetMap mapped. So the Amazon basin, I don't know if it works, but you could take like a state or North Holland or something like that and use the QID there and get it on the map.
That's really interesting because there's stuff that's only found in, for example, like the South Island or the Antipodes Islands or things like that.
That
so
would
you
work.
can just,
yes.
Yeah.
Islands would work perfect.
We should actually schedule a specific edition of this wiki to do that, because this is. I mean, if you go back to the screen, you see a bit of what is a bit of an annoyance to me. Is if you go back, you can actually see to the map that it's.
Did I do something wrong? I edited it. I know what I need to do. Edited map markup because I took out the duplicate. Let's just see if that fixes it. I'll just refresh. Yes, it did.
So you can actually see Uruguay. You don't even see Argentina. Well, Trinidad is pretty small, and then Mexico, which you can already suggest that it's basically all of the and we started out of an observation in Suriname. So two things when I'm quite often writing Wikipedia articles for observations coming from Suriname, and they're also seen in French Guiana, which is interesting because the QID code for French Guiana is France. So suddenly then France pop up, and then I avoid French Guiana, and then you will get white boxes. So it's really exciting that you tell me that it's now possible to do it. So we need to work on getting the Amazon basin or the Guyana shield in Wikidata, because those are the two that I'm missing, because part of the Guyana shield is also in Venezuela, and now you don't want to put all of Venezuela in there or all of Brazil, but only the Amazon shield, etc. So this is really nice. So that was my.
What if you've got, okay, and this is a really geeky question. What if you've got a species that's limited to like one hill? So can you do a map, like a map to say, this species is only found in I'm not sure you'd want to do it because then it might be endangered or something. But would you if that hill is in OpenStreetMap and you have a Wikidata item for that hill, can you?
I think that should be possible because the way you're just using MapFrame raw there, and it takes anything from that's connected to OpenStreetMap and Wikidata.
That's really neat, because sometimes we've got populations which are, found in Mount Tongariro in the middle of the North Island, and then that's the only place it's found now, and then there's some in the South Island. So you could have it so that you can. I'm quite excited. I might have to try this out.
I think we should schedule another edition, and specifically on drawing map for range.
Well, this is a frustration for me because I can't often find range maps, and to be able to have now an exemplar where I can have a go at creating my own range maps, it's fabulous. So thank you. I've learned something today. This is great.
So it needs to be an OpenStreetMap. So specifically for the Amazon basin and the Guyana shield, I've been trying to upload a shape, but I can't find the sources myself. So there are some proprietary sources which I cannot reuse, but it would be interesting to see if we can, specifically for the Amazon basin or the Guyana shields, if we can figure out a way to get that covered on Wikidata, because then it would be really nice. Anyway, I'm digressing into another topic, but...
Did you also want to show how this data is getting reused on Scholia?
Yes, I think that is really interesting because we went from Wikipedia article, which was the main purpose of this exercise, into Wikidata. With Wikidata, it's worth emphasizing that Wikidata is not limited to Wikipedia alone. And Scholia is a nice exemplar where it shows what is available, and so you can navigate the Wikidata and beyond. And what already excites me is we just noticed that within the hour, Siobhan added a lot of information into Wikidata, and now we have the images there. You have parataxon, you have some identifiers, which is interesting for people who are working with identifier mapping. There are some, no, it's actually fetching, so it's making these graphs of the nodes into Wikidata. It's not only on the
Yeah, I could barely read it, so yeah.
Yeah, you can increase it, and then but we haven't yet covered. There's not a lot of coverage of the literature, but if it's on the species, it will show up there. And
yeah.
So this is a nice demonstration that Wikidata is core to the linking between BHL, iNaturalist, GBIF to Wikipedia, but also other resources can use.
I'm just going to check to see whether. I mean, sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't. So let's see.
Yes. Nice case.
I'm just going to go and see if it's going to pull in. No, it hasn't. So what I do for this to try and get it to happen, and it only happens sometimes, so don't hold your breath. I edit photos and I go down and go Wiki Commons, and just to try and force it to do it, I'm just going to add that there and say photos. And sometimes it's not going to do it. So we have to wait for iNaturalist has to pull from Wiki, and it can take up to a week to happen, but it does happen. And our Wikipedia article will end up here, but not today.
Yeah, it's maybe also worth mentioning that when you're using iNaturalist in another language than English, the template isn't there. So that's if you're coming in from Dutch or French or Swedish, and there are different ways. But so don't get frustrated if you don't see the template in there.
All I can suggest is going to try and find another article in the same genus, and then do what we did, just copy and paste and just change it to the genus, but to the species you're actually creating an item for. Yeah.
Okay.
Quite a pretty little bug, isn't it?
Yeah. So should I just quickly show, if one clicks in the upper right corner on your screen, you can select languages, and I'm gonna start share mine when you start.
Okay, so I'll stop
Swedish
sharing.
there.
So
yes.
No, I don't know.
Cool. No, am I on?
Yeah, I'm going to stop. Do you want me to stop sharing and you? Oh, you can do it.
That's all right. I think I managed there. So then you get to the Swedish, and now it's already looking better than when I accidentally refreshed here and pulled in the Wikidata image. It would have been even better to show it before you added the image to Wikidata, because of course the template is is already better. But this is the way the articles have been bot created about species on Swedish Wikipedia, and this is how it looks. It has the info box. It has a tiny little line of also the wrong error. We had a Fabricius here as well, and wrong year, so we have to fix that.
Yeah.
And it's a stink bug and no subspecies. And if we look at the history, we can see this particular article has never been touched by a human. It's been the bots all the way, cleaning this one. So what we do on Swedish Wikipedia is we have a little sort of like, it says further information here. We have an info page or like a help page where we're sort of like, oh, these are the things that you need to check to remove the bot created article stub. So it basically says, check if the geographical regions are correct, check that the translations haven't been correct for the things, and if the images have been properly picked from Commons. If there were images on Commons when the bot ran, it will select a couple of them. And of course, the bot didn't know what kind of images was. So that can be completely weird if Commons has some weird images. And then, of course, also the author, that is often tricky because there's so many authors with similar names. So they often lead to disambiguation pages. So you had to sort of like try to disentangle that.
Yeah.
So those are the things that are, and then there's a little bit extra about if it has auto-generated things about the distribution that you need to check. But in this case, there was nothing about the distribution. And what really only thing that is wrong here is Fabricius, of course. So we need to fix that too.
Yeah.
Carl Linnaeus.
I can't work out where that came from because I've, it's the yeah, I just can't understand the mistake.
Yeah.
So someone's made a mistake and it's permeated through quite a few databases, etc.
And here, of course, we have a different name in Swedish for Linnaeus. We call him Carl von Linné. And let's see, did that turn blue? Wait, what?
Oh, that's because it's a
no,
synonym.
there, down there.
You'll need to go.
I was too far down. Yes, so we need this several places.
Yeah.
Where was the first one? There we have it.
And don't forget to change the year.
Ah, yes, that was 58.
Yeah.
58, and then I think we can remove this source because this is not supporting that statement.
Yeah, so looks like the catalogue of life. I might go and check that actually.
Yeah, but I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the source you used.
Yeah.
And I think we also have the site Q template in Swedish Wikipedia, so I'm going to grab that one.
I'm not sure about the BHL page template. I don't know whether that's
No, I don't think we have that one.
Okay. No, cool. Then just ignore that one.
Yeah. So I'll grab this, do ref. I'm actually going to name that one as well. Oh, now I'm all over the place. There we go. So I think that turned nicely there, and then I can reuse that ref somewhere.
Oh, I like it. Yeah, I didn't add any synonyms in our one. I'm going to have to go back and fix that. I can't stand it. Unless someone's got there before me. Nope.
Linné 58. Nope. Where is it? And that one will remove and replace with this. And I think we need to do like that, right? There we go. And then I see here also, you see I have, this goes to a redirect or through a redirect. They get yellow linked. I have a CSS thing for that. So I'm gonna fix that just to clean it up. There we go. So bypass the redirect. So now we checked all of those. I'm gonna go back to where I had my instructions here. There was no place, the image is good. So now I can actually remove that this is a bot created article. This is how we do it in Swedish Wikipedia, and it's still gonna be there in the version history. But now a human has looked at this. Oh, I have something wrong with the
references.
Oh, did I?
Oh, because you've taken out the reference, but they've obviously used it somewhere else. The name COL
after
the catalog life stuff, so you have to pull that out.
I need to bring that one back. I'm going to do it like this. Where was the first one? COL. Oh no, it's saying it's defined, but you're not using it.
Yeah.
Yes, I
So
can remove it
it'll
from
be
down
used
here.
somewhere.
I think we can. We don't have the col3 anymore. There we go. Oh, and not that one either.
Yeah, that's everywhere.
I'm always a little bit confused when they put the references down in the bottom. I usually like to put them in line. Oh, there's
Yeah, me too. It makes it
another
easier.
one as well. Yeah, because it can happen like this, that they put them in twice. Now this is a error by the bot, but still. So that's a sort of template site Q. Why?
You just got rid of the site Q one, and this is why I like inline citations. It's just so much simpler.
Yes. Where did I put it?
You just took it out.
No. So this is we call it site space Q on Swedish Wikipedia,
okay,
not
okay.
site Q. That's
Okay.
a tricky one. And now it looks good.
That looks better. Yeah, that's fine.
And we also see a third way to look at it here, side by side, where you have this preview button pressed instead of switching here.
Yeah.
These things are sticky. I just tried it out once, and now I had it for a couple of weeks, and I sort of like it, but I'm not sure. But this looks like a tiny improvement, so I'm gonna just save this here, publish this, clean up.
Isn't it asking you to recover changes? Didn't you just refresh it? Look in the right. Well, my right.
Do you have unseen?
I think.
I don't think I don't know why this is up.
I'm not sure either.
No, but
Okay.
I would have to write this in English or Swedish. Hard to do two languages as one. So
I know.
Talking and one writing.
You saw how difficult it was for me to just do my native language.
We'll see what happens when I press publish here. Recover. I think it was because I had this second one I copied off from open as well, the second window.
Yeah. Cool.
All right. So this is a tiny article as well. It's not even as long as yours. How do you think about time? Should I try to do an experiment with the section translation, or should we go into a little bit discussion about the stubs?
I don't mind. Whichever you prefer. What do you want, Andra?
I have another half hour, but then I could also leave it to you, and let's not limit the flow.
Let's show this thing, because this is probably new for people, because it's a quite new feature at all. So if you go to your, I think it's under the contributions, and there you have this translation thing.
Okay.
And this might still be a beta thing or something, but if you go into there, you have you can do translations, and it says new capabilities available. Translate individual sections. So let's see if I can translate one of your things into here that you just wrote.
Okay.
So let's see if I search on this for English. And do I need to press it? What happens now? Or maybe I should go to, let's try that. So I'll go back to the article here. And if I'll do, translate this page to Swedish. No sections available to translate.
Oh, okay. Maybe they're not big enough.
Maybe they're not big enough, or maybe this is cached, so it hasn't picked it up yet.
Yeah, because it's the new
maybe
article.
we're too quick here.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
But in theory, I could select just one section here on the left side and translate that one to so I could do just distribution and do that one to Swedish easily and have it into that article. So that's a nice new little feature, like also enable bite-size improvements. Because otherwise, if you translate a featured article from one language, you have to work a couple of days because there's so much text.
Yeah.
So, yeah. All right. This didn't work, but we'll come back to that also after we come back to the, I guess, the maps that we're going to do.
Mm.
But before that, let's dive into this little thing about the stubs. And we talked about this before. We called it minimal viable species stub or something like that.
Yeah.
And we're all aware of that this is a matter of opinion to some degrees and that it varies across languages. But where do you lie on what is the minimum that you're accepting for yourself or that you're accepting from others?
Well, I showed you minimum for me.
Yeah.
But my minimum has changed, and then it depends on the project. Like when I had a whole heap of New Zealand endemic moths which were not in Wiki, and I wanted to have them there so that everyone could work on them, I did the minimum of the taxon box and one line. It is a species endemic to New Zealand. Species in the family. It's one sentence, but it still has quite a bit of information in it. And then one reference, and then that was it. But then I've been going back and I've been expanding them out to C class at least articles. Yeah, but it's I've been doing that for 5 years. I'm going to keep doing it for another 5. Probably there's hundreds of the things. So yeah. What about you, Andra? You're muted.
For that, I was thinking, so my minimum is my goal, but that is the goal we're also trying to do in the Wikimedia project biodiversity, is to get as much species covered as we can. So I would say I would try to get anything out there, and I would say my minimum amount is images, the info box, and the first line, and 2 references. And that's if I can't find 2 references. And so I typically start from an iNaturalist observation. So I have some workflows. I can share one later. Is where where you use your iNaturalist. You just go out, whether it's in person or it's in user groups, and then there are pipelines that can show you which of the species lack a Wikipedia article. So I go from there. And then I have an image. So my minimal, but it's personal. My minimal personal page is we need an image and we need 2 references. And then from there, I go into GBIF, going to BHL, try to find as much information. And then the line is species X is part of the genus Y, originally described or fully described by author X, and then 2 references.
So that's interesting about the image, because I tend to, because I have often problems finding images for certain species, particularly if they're not well covered or have only been described, once and no one's looked at it again for 100 years. If there's no information in Wiki or on the internet in general or on iNaturalist, you saw that blank page where it says, please help us do a Wikipedia article. What I do is on those ones, okay, it's not minimum, because the reason I write the Wikipedia article is to get it ingested into iNaturalist so that citizen scientists have some sort of idea, any sort of idea about what they might be looking at. And so sometimes it's just the original description. If I'm lucky, the original description will come with an illustration that's in the public domain. And then because a lot of New Zealand species article, species pages in iNaturalist have publications in the public domain that has heaps of illustrations, and I just added, like I did that manual one where I tried to force iNaturalist to do the article. I'll actually add illustrations in as the exemplar, curate the images, add the illustrations as the exemplar, so that, and then I've got people I know who are moth fanatics in New Zealand, and they will use that to go and work out what they're actually looking at. And with people identifying it, and the Wikipedia article there with the links to the original description and the quotes from the original description, etc., then you can get the research grade quite high. And if the person's generous and has openly licensed, it's the round trip. You can grab the image that they've taken that is now research grade, stick it in Commons, and then put it on your article. So it's this lovely, round trip of information. But again, that doesn't really deal with the minimum side of things, because I'm not, when it comes to knowledge and trying to extract and link stuff, I'm not a minimum person if I can at all avoid it. Yeah.
No, but it's okay. Maybe I should have said the workflow that I'm coming from. I'm pretty active on iNaturalist, and I have some pipelines that identifies which of my observations lacks Wikipedia articles, because maybe it's worth emphasizing again. You demonstrated it nicely. iNaturalist uses Wikipedia descriptions to describe the species. So there is this interest to get any observations you have covered. So there's like this loop of information. So since I started in 2018 with using or 2017 using iNaturalist, and then my scripts now tell me that I have about, I think, in the hundreds of observations that lack Wikipedia articles. So then whenever I just touch one of them, it's starting from the image, going to the literature, and that's where I dare to push publish. So it's when I have this one line, these references, and the image.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not to say that if I don't have an image, but this is a personal opinion, I would be comfortable pushing publish if I have a bit more description. What's the information, like the one you have put in? How can I recognize it? I mean, I would actually, maybe now thinking about it, would say if you don't have an image, at least have a description on there so people can identify, which will lead to pictures, etc. So that is what I would say. But just a line, it's a taxon in the genus Y, originally described by Linnaeus in 1785, just making the point of that can be wrong. I don't think that's enough.
No.
So, but again, that's where I dare to push publish.
That's very interesting, Andra, because then how do you feel about this Swedish article that I had there, that when we started today, it didn't have an image. It had a full taxa box. It had just a line. It's a species in this discovered by the wrong author. And it had 5 sources, I think, at least. So that was different. How do you feel about that level? Like no image, some content is very helpful and some is doubtful.
But you had 5 references.
Yeah.
So I think it's about accountability. My minimal is about what I would push in. I'm a data person. I'm not a taxonomist. I'm not a biologist. So I sometimes take some decisions that is out of scope of my own expertise. And then I really need to rely. And that doesn't mean that for everybody, there should be the decision what is considered to be the minimum. I would, to be fair or honest, I would say even my minimum requirement is I will be still uncomfortable pushing publish. I mean, I'm more in the range of what Siobhan just did, try to get as much information covered. But really, if I want to get something out there to do some fishing expedition, there's a really nice script on Wikipedia, which is called User View, and which gives you all the growth of a paper, of an article for any article that you use. And it really shows that having a minimum page helps in attracting more information. However, I should say, I haven't looked in it. It doesn't always work like that. So I also have a lot of stubs that are out there for 3-4 years, which are still one-line stubs. So I still have to figure out, because I think the intention of a stub is to attract more collaboration. I mean, it's not for the sake of getting, I have 2,000 new stubs. I mean, that shouldn't be the motivation. It's really about how do we get something out there so it's being found by other pipelines, by other users who might not agree or agree, like the Swedish one, and then can correct it. I mean, you already had, going back to your example, even if it's incorrect, it is found, and then you can correct that. Whereas if there wasn't a Swedish page, we don't have any directions. And the fact that you have, so maybe I should rephrase, we should have references, 2 references at minimum, and then I'm good with 1 line.
Yes. And as you said, for people to find it and build upon it, we have a couple of nice examples from universities in Sweden where students have been working on mosses. And of course, mosses are not the kind of things that also people look at a lot. Like there's this unknown just thing that exists everywhere. But when we had these spot-created articles on Swedish Wikipedia, it was super easy for the students to start writing. They didn't need to bother about the taxa box or the first references. They could get a framework to start it. And now we have 30 very nice, very well referenced articles about mosses after this class went through this. So
I don't mind stubs for that very reason, especially because creating a new article is actually quite a high skill level of knowing all the templates and what parts of Wiki do this and what parts of Wiki does that and what the talk page is. And when you're a new editor, it's all very overwhelming. And it's much easier to have the stub there, think, oh, I can improve that. I can find 1 reference. I can add something, add a sentence. Yeah. And if you're worried about stubs, Andra, just do what I do and start doing species editathons and make your colleagues improve them and convince other people to come along, new editors to come along and improve them.
And I think we also somehow touched upon it, like we used the word I dare publish, and if you're a new student and it's already published and you're just improving it, that's also a barrier that you don't need to, do I need to go out with something new? How will people react? Will it be deleted? No, here's something that's already existed, and on Swedish Wikipedia, they've been around for well over 10 years now as stubs. So we're just longing for people to come improve them.
And there is another reason which I wasn't aware of, but if you're a new Wikipedian, you can't create, I don't know what the metric is, but you can't create new articles until you have done some edits. And I've ran into this. So there's another reason to have these stubs is that you help newcomers who are knowledgeable on the topic to start contributing, because they are not yet able to create new articles.
Yeah, but that's specific to English Wikipedia, right?
Is it? Yeah. Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah, but that's okay. I think it's quite good to when you're new to have sort of like guide rails to teach you, so that, because it is very overwhelming if you try and do a new article, you end up with things that aren't right just because you don't know what template to use, for example. And it's, they end up looking not so great, and then someone has to come along and clean it. If they at least have a go at learning how to edit, and then you develop your skills. It won't take long. I can train someone up in half a day to do it. But it's nice if they're not confident as well a lot of the time as well. So it's just nice to be able to provide them with stuff to improve. And goodness knows we're not going to run out of stuff anytime soon.
Well, maybe one rabbit hole to open then is if we start comfortable, I think we all are to create new stubs. Let's take the example we now did. The original name, I already forgot it, but let's say there was a Wikipedia article of the original name as Linnaeus intended it. Now we ended up with 2 stubs. So what are your opinions on that? Having Wikipedia synonyms.
No. You do a redirect. If it accidentally happens, you transfer whatever was on the original name, whatever's useful, into the current name, and then you do a redirect. And if the name has changed, then you move the article. If you can, you move the article. You don't have 2 articles, one for one species concept and one for another species concept. You have an article for the current name and a synonyms list. Oh gosh, I believe in synonym lists. So I went back and edited it so that there was a synonym there.
I would say that I was comfortable with that, because sometimes there is a nice example. There is a nice example, I think, by Treatment Bank that is going into T-Rex. And there you actually see that there are like 14 synonyms of...
well, then you...
So what happens if you... Let me give you this theoretical case, which I think... So you have this workflow of synonyms that evolved over time. And there is now an accepted, and there is new research coming in that says, well, hold on, this should be actually forked into two species. So there is some view that... So how would you so then you
taxonomy, there are disagreements left, right, and center. Yeah. And you basically, I tend to go to the wiki project, as normally a wiki project for whatever species you're dealing with. I go to them and look at what the consensus is in the community as to where you should go to get the be-all and end-all taxonomy for something like this. If it hasn't done it in that whatever database or two databases that they've said, then I would put something in a section in the article to say, or in the taxonomy section, I would say there is currently, as at this date, citation, explaining what the problem or issue or debate is, referencing everything, and then just wait. A taxonomy will eventually sort itself out. It may take 100 years, but it will eventually sort itself out.
Yes.
And then once it all permeates down, and the be-all and end-all database/reference or whatever the wiki project consensus is, it adapts, then I would do the two articles or the one article or whatever's been agreed on. Yeah.
And that's sort of the strength of the unstructuredness of Wikipedia, is that we can allow for any kind of special case that currently is the state of something. We can describe that in words so that it's readable for human and can understand, like, oh, the scientists are still debating this. And here's where the debate is ongoing.
Yeah, and it's going to happen a lot now with DNA's so much more prevalent and so much cheaper.
Yeah, it's currently happening all the time. I think their bird species moved across the field every day when they discover, oh no, these were not the same, or these were the same, or
That's a reflection of our own knowledge base. Yes. So okay, good. Now I will move articles moving forward.
Yeah. Well, sometimes you get articles that have been moved once, and you've got to move them back, and that's when I have to run to the admins and say, "Here's all the references." Or what I end up actually doing is put it on the talk page first, see if anyone is interested. Normally, no. And then if no one's interested, then I go and ask the admins to move it based on the current taxonomy. Yeah. If it's been moved backwards and forwards. Yeah.
All right. Okay. I think we sort of promised that sometime in the future we will look at maps and taxonomic ranges, but I don't think we will promise a date for that yet. But since the last episode was 3 years ago, we
hopefully the turnaround will be a bit better.
maybe more than 3 years.
Game to make the Amazon basin and the Guyana Shield as a topic, if we can do that. But then we can discuss that offline.
Yeah.
It's been really awesome. Maybe it's also, to wrap up, also do a shout out. So we have been really meticulously editing a Wikipedia article. We did it on purpose, completely manually. But we should also emphasize to those of the viewers who are intimidated by this, that there are a ton of workflows, that there is, like what Siobhan did with Wikidata. There are tools like Open Refine and Quick Statements that really, really help to do this in batches. So if you have a list of 1,000 species that lacks Wikidata, don't go in like we did, but reach out and to the community. There is a Wikidata project, Biodiversity, where we have a ton of pipelines. I also maintain some pipelines. I have some, which is also a shout out. If you change your license on iNaturalist, you're basically contributing to this as well, because you put your iNaturalist observations in there. So once you change the licenses, which I think is our own rant constantly, right, Siobhan? Just change your license to CC0, CC BY, or CC BY SA. And if you do, people like Siobhan, Jan, and I, and we're with many more, will reuse your photos into the Wikidata sphere. And I think that's about it. Anything we want to discuss?
I think just a shout out that Wiki Loves Earth is continuing in May, and depending on where you are on Earth, it might continue into June as well. But that's a photo for protected areas, and many of the countries that are in this campaign also allow for macro photography. Like, so if you go in and take pictures from species or iNaturalist, you might already be have candidates that you want to put into the contest. So check that out as well.
Cool.
So thank you. And let's just say 3 years was way too long.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.